Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Chloe ran through a list of things she needed to get done that day as a disinterested Xander sat at his tablet computer in his living room. Xander casually replied that it would be alright when Chloe asked if she could work from home. Chloe questioned, "Well, something has your attention, and it is obviously not me. What are you looking at?" Xander clarified Gwen's marriage to Dimitri. Dimitri awoke in the Dimera mansion's vacant bed and looked at the ring on his finger. "So it wasn't a dream after all," Dimitri said. Gwen came back with a muffin with a lit candle inside. "Happy birthday, husband." "It wasn't a dream," Gwen remarked. Dimitri had a fantasy that the conditions of his inheritance had altered, allowing him to wed Leo rather than Gwen, when Gwen encouraged him to make a wish. Dimitri blew out the candle on his muffin while beaming. Gwen questioned, "What did you wish for?" Dimitri responded, "I can't tell you, or it won't come true." Dimitri was prodded by Gwen to share his request, but he declined. "You got married before turning 40, so at least I know one of your wishes came true," Gwen added. Dimitri remarked, "Thank you. Not everyone would be as tolerant about that haste." Gwen was questioned by Dimitri about her opinion on the dual wedding. Gwen responded, "Barely even noticed them." Gwen admitted to Dimitri that her husband was her main focus. Dimitri claimed he shared the same sentiments for her. When Gwen reached the top of Dimitri, she informed him that his birthday surprise was ready. Leo poked his head out from under the covers as Gwen ducked under them. Dimitri sputtered. "Is there a problem?" Gwen questioned. Dimitri claimed he had been overcome with joy when Gwen drew down the sheet. "Then I'll continue," Gwen replied. Dimitri pleaded, "Please don't." Dimitri mumbled, "I want to see Gwen's face," incoherently. Dimitri gave Gwen a kiss. At the Kyriakis mansion, Xander paid Maggie a visit. "I'm quite happy working for the Spectator, like I said before, so I presume you summoned me over here so you can attempt to talk me into working for you again," Xander remarked. Maggie explained to Xander that she had invited him over because she believed that he ought to make things right with Victor. Xander tensed up. Maggie saw that despite Victor being challenging, he had compassion for his family. "Since he loves you," Maggie said, "and I know it's been really upsetting to him that you and he are estranged. He has a funny way of showing it, doesn't he? He belittles me at every opportunity. Makes me feel worthless," Xander retorted. Victor had been disappointed that Xander had left the family, Maggie explained. Xander protested. "He practically shoved me out the door." "Yes," Maggie nodded. Maggie said, "I think the two of you should attempt to reconcile before it's too late. Victor isn't getting any younger, and his health isn't what it used to be." Xander commented that he had been getting by just fine without Victor in his life with a shrug. "But you're needed by him," Maggie said. Except for Justin, Maggie remarked that Victor did not get along well with any of his relatives. Xander asked, "And whose fault is that?" Maggie urged Xander to change his mind. Maggie added, "I think it would help if you offered him an olive branch. Victor's been in very low spirits lately." Xander agreed to speak with Victor with a moan. "However," Xander said, "I'm only doing this for you because I don't like to watch you worry about the old tosser." Maggie thanked Xander and gave him a hug. Xander was about to ascend when Maggie informed him that Victor was seeing Beau. "Has his condition changed?" Xander questioned. "I think that has a lot to do with why Victor has been so low," Maggie responded. When Xander got back, he made a vow to speak with Victor. Xander asked, "In the meantime, can I take you out for breakfast?" Maggie expressed her want to, but she had to go for Chicago to visit Sarah. "I believe it's time that she and I discussed everything openly," Maggie said. Maggie told Xander that Sarah was dating Rex, which left Xander perplexed and asking, "About what?" Maggie mentioned that Bonnie had found out about the connection while she was in Chicago, which made Xander wonder why Sarah hadn't told Maggie. "I don't think Sarah wants me to know, because she thinks I'll disapprove," Maggie said. Xander was perplexed when he remembered Bonnie's insistence to him that Sarah wasn't dating Rex. "I'm so sorry," Maggie said. "I should have thought before I opened my big mouth. Maybe she didn't want to hurt your feelings." Maggie was assured by Xander not to worry. "I'm glad Sarah is no longer here," Xander reassured Maggie. Xander informed Maggie that Chloe and him were getting along great. "We're starting to take this seriously," Xander remarked. Maggie expressed her happiness for Xander. Xander wished Maggie and her daughter a pleasant trip. Maggie remarked, "I'm going to be really curious to hear what my daughter has to say for herself." Eric brought breakfast to Sloan's flat, which she received in bed. Eric questioned, "You have a busy morning." When Sloan checked her phone, she saw that Trask had phoned. With a smile, Sloan remarked, "She probably wants to tell me about her date." Eric gave Sloan a farewell kiss. Trask was standing outside when Eric unlocked the front door and he let her in before heading off. Sloan questioned, "Is this about Lee?" Trask clarified that she had wished to wrap up their discussion of Sloan's important revelation. Sloan remarked, "It wasn't important." Trask questioned, "You said it was about Nicole Walker, right?" "Yes," Sloan nodded. Trask claimed that she had spoken to Nicole in the plaza, and that this had led her to question if the mystery involved the father of Nicole's unborn child. Sloan laughed nervously and replied, "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Oh, I'm sure you do," Trask retorted. Trask claimed to be aware of Sloan's assistance in obtaining an Eric DNA swab for use in Nicole's baby's paternity test. According to what Trask knew, E.J. Demura was never put to the test. Sloan claimed that it wasn't essential. Trask went on to say that she was aware that Sloan had unintentionally obtained Nicole's DNA test results. Sloan remarked, "Nurse handed me the wrong envelope." Trask questioned, "Is that really what happened?" Sloan inquired as to what Trask meant. Trask questioned, "Is Eric the father of Nicole's baby?" Sloan stated that the paternity test had established that Eric was not Nicole's baby's father. Sloan was reminded by Trask that the test had been constructed using the swab Sloan had obtained. "And, as you pointed out, you had a vested interest in him not being the father," countered Trask. Sloan sneered and called Trask's assumptions absurd. The genetic test was the only method that might disprove the paternity test, so you can see why Trask would be skeptical. "But what, you just happened to get your hands on them first, by mistake?" Trask questioned. If that was the secret Sloan had wished to reveal, Trask questioned Sloan. Sloan admitted, "Okay, you're correct. Nicole is also the lady bearing Eric's child." Sloan said that, except from Eric, she was alone in the world. Sloan said why she swabbed her cheek instead of his. "I didn't want to lose him." Sloan was questioned by Trask about how she knew Eric was the father. Sloan clarified that the outcomes of the DNA test had verified that EJ was incompatible. Trask questioned, "And you decided to keep this a secret?" Sloan acknowledged that she seems terrible. "And I feel terrible about it, keeping him from his other child, which is partially why I suggested that we get pregnant." Sloan was questioned by Trask as to why she had withheld the truth now that she was also expecting. Sloan asserted that Eric would not pardon her with a head shake. Sloan continued by saying she was positive that if Eric discovered the truth, he would return to Nicole. Sloan sighed and acknowledged that she shouldn't have revealed her secret, that she had to let it out. "I'm sorry if I came on a little strong, but I really get a kick out of solving riddles," Trask remarked, adding, "I fully understand." Trask continued by saying she hoped she and Sloan would become friends. "Your secret is safe with me," Trask assured. Clove and Nicole discussed Nicole's test results over brunch in the town plaza. Nicole said, "One less thing to worry about." Nicole was urged by Clove to unwind and relish her pregnancy. Nicole questioned, "I wonder if Eric and Sloan have received the results of their genetic test." Clove's eyes widened. Nicole made Sloan's pregnancy known. Clove questioned, "What? Since when?" Nicole argued that Sloan probably got pregnant to keep Eric around. "Maybe, but I don't see why you should care," Clove replied. Nicole didn't pay attention to Chloe's questions regarding her love for Eric since her phone rang with a call from Brandon. Nicole said, "I'll be right back, okay?" Eric went by and said hi as Nicole walked away to speak with Brandon. "Congratulations are in order, I've heard," Chloe added. Eric queried Chloe about the jewelry store bag once she had observed it. Chloe was shown an engagement ring by Eric. Eric stated, "I was going to propose to Sloan." Nicole went back to the table, and when she saw the ring in Eric's hand, she said, "What?" Nicole asked with distaste, "You're proposing to Sloan." Eric added, "I mean, we are having a child together. It seemed like the right thing to do." Chloe congratulated Eric and wished him luck with his proposal, while Nicole glared at her. Nicole said, "Good luck." Yeah, Nicole was questioned by Chloe about her well-being after Eric left. Nicole mumbled, "I'm fine," to herself. Chloe remarked, "You seem really upset." Nicole, who was agitated, expressed surprise. Nicole responded, "To answer your question earlier, yes, I am over Eric. It's weird to see him starting a life with someone else, especially with a woman who's so wrong for him." Chloe arched her brow. Nicole agreed that she had no need to know about Eric and his girlfriend. When Xander encountered Gwen outside the Brady pub, he wished her well with her marriage. "I appreciate that," Gwen replied. Gwen informed Xander that she would be absent so she could go on her honeymoon to Iceland. "I hope you have an amazing trip," Xander added, knowing how much you've always wanted to visit that place. Gwen questioned Xander about his seeming support out of confusion. "But as I said, Gwen, I just want you to be happy. Therefore, I still don't trust that guy," Xander stated. Actually, Gwen said, "I'm happier than I've ever been, happier than I ever thought I could be." Anders grinned. "I believe it's wonderful that everyone is finally resuming their lives," stated Xander. Wendy came out of her room to find Lai sitting on his couch and concentrating on his laptop. Wendy remarked, "You appear as though someone just slapped you." Lee stumbled. "Thabby and Stefan got married last night." Wendy questioned Lee about whether he had any wild plans. Lee grimaced. "I was only kidding," Wendy exclaimed with a chuckle. Wendy was asked by Lai why she wasn't at the Salem Inn with Tripp. "That was the intention," Wendy continued. But then things took an unexpected turn. Wendy remarked that Tripp and she had spent a lovely evening at the hotel. Wendy had questioned Tripp at the hotel as to why the room had 2 beds. There had been a mix-up, according to Tripp, and there wasn't another room available. Tripp asked if they should utilize one before the other or push the 2 together. Leo entered the room while intoxicated just as Wendy and Tripp were about to kiss. Lai questioned, "Why did Leo Stark have a key to your room?" Wendy clarified that the hotel had neglected to change Leo's name on the reservation. Tripp calmed Leo down after he raged over his belongings going missing. Tripp had inquired as to Leo's well-being. Leo had added, "Of course, I'm upset. You 2 have broken into my house, taken all my belongings, and worst of all, I just witnessed my best friend marry my boyfriend." Wendy described her night to Lai, and Lai mentioned that he had a catastrophic romantic evening as well. Wendy questioned, "Really? Why? I thought you were all thrilled about your date with Melinda." "I was, but you somehow got into my head," Lai admitted. Lai claimed that Trask was overly anxious to continue the date since Wendy had mentioned that Trask was playing a long game to trap him. Wendy questioned, "But Lai, if you didn't brainwash Harris to kill Stefan, then you had nothing to worry about, right?" Trask was a shark, Lai contended, and she would have found a way to set him up. Wendy objected. "I honestly don't think you could ever trust her, so it's probably better if you quit seeing her," Wendy stated. Lai complied. Lai was advised by Wendy not to give up on love. Tripp awoke in the Salem Inn in the same bed as Leo Stark. Tripp asked, "What the hell are you doing in my bed?" In agony, Leo cradled his head. Leo revealed that despite being sound asleep in the other bed, he had started to feel lonely in the middle of the night. Leo remarked, "I just wanted to be near another person, so I crawled up under the covers." Leo assured everyone that it had been a kind act. Tripp remarked, "Not mad. You just freaked me out. Leo was given a bottle of water by Tripp to drink. Leo complained. I was such a drama queen last night. Tripp remarked. I get it. You were unhappy over your partner. Leo spat his water out. Leo insisted that he had no boyfriends. Yes, you do, Tripp replied. You told me everything about him last night. Leo questioned. What exactly did I say? Leo informed Tripp and Wendy that his partner had wed his best friend, according to Tripp. Tripp had asked Wendy to go since he was worried about Leo's condition and had promised to stay and take care of Leo. In exchange for a rain check on their planned date night, Wendy left.